This is the original story of Peter Pan. The original author of Peter Pan was J.M. Barrie. It was later adapted in 1911 novel called Peter and Wendy. Some people don't know the true origin of the story. It's a lot darker than most people truly know. Let me give you a little backstory. Peter Pan was a young boy that had a fairy named Tinker Bell that met a young lady by the name of Wendy that was tired of her life in London and decides to go to a magical place with Peter Pan and Tinker Bell called Neverland. The story is about magic, friendship, and wonder. At first, Wendy and her brothers was having a good time, but after being harassed by mermaids and Indians, they started to get homesick and was ready to leave. They also learned a few things about Peter that was really scary. Example 1. Peter said all the lost boys are kids who lost their parents at a public park in London called Kensington Gardens. And just like a predator, he was approaching kids and encouraging them to go to his magical island where there is no rules and kids could do whatever they want. It was also known that he kills the lost boys to thin the herd or when they get too old. A cool detail about Hook, I bet y'all didn't know, was that he doesn't have anyone standing guard on his ship because the souls of the people he has killed protected for miles in every direction. Wendy and her brothers eventually went back home after a couple of days, but Peter Pan made sure to fly ahead of the ship so he could put bars on their bedroom windows so they could think their parents didn't want them to come back home. But when Peter Pan saw how their parents were so upset, he decided to go against it. They were allowed to go home, and that is how the story ends. But there's more. Let's go a little more about James Barrie and his obsession. It started in 1867 when he was just 6 years old, when his brother David was killed by a fellow ice skater. David was supposed to be the mother's favorite out of all the 8 kids. In 1898, James was hanging out at Kensington Garden where he met 4 and 5-year-old boys that was walking with their nanny named John and Davis. James was so polite, he befriended their parents, and he was allowed to meet their other 3 boys. They even started calling him Uncle Jim. Both Davis' parents died of natural causes when their kids were still young, and since they trusted Uncle Jim, he was the one responsible for transcribing the parents' will and sending it to the boy's grandma. And when she received it, instead of the will saying the children should go to Jenny, it said they should go to Jimmy. So you know what that means. He was allowed to adopt the kids. Shaking my head. Red flag. Don't you think? The more research I do on James, the more red flags will pop up. Before James died in 1937, he did leave the copyright of all his Peter Pan books to a children's hospital in London. That's all I have for now. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and please leave those comments because I need to hear what y'all thoughts about because my thoughts was it was crazy because I always thought Peter was a good guy. Love y'all. Peace.